It is draft day. We have the whole crew here. What should you expect? Who do we like? And what do we see happening in terms of trades? Find out coming up on Locked On NBA Big Board. What's up? We got the whole crew here. My name is Richard Stayman. I got James Barlowe. I got Leif Thulin, my guys. James has been new to the show this year, but has been absolutely incredible, offered really new perspective, really unique perspective too. Sometimes we disagree, sometimes see eye to eye on some prospects. It's been very fun to have him in the mix this year. Leif has been a staple for the last few years, as long as I've been a part of this as well in 2021. And we really appreciate every single person who has been here with us up to this point. You started to hear last July after Summer League when it was absolutely dead. We started talking about the draft, and now you're here. So really appreciate everybody who has been with us and making us the first listen of your day on this draft day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the playoffs wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Well, we got the whole crew here. Let's just talk about what we see happening. I mean, for starters, the Brooklyn Nets, moments before we started recording, made a trade. It's Tuesday night, so who knows what could even be happening overnight. I'm sure Kevin Durant will get traded at 1 a.m. again. That's always fun when that happens. But at the moment, the Brooklyn Nets just entered the tanking race for 2025 already. It's very interesting. I think that they got, I think, 6 or 7 picks all in all, and not a single one of them was either of the first round picks from the Knicks this year. And I think that says a lot about the draft class. What did y'all think? Instant reactions real fast. I'll start with you, James. What did you think of that Nets trade for Mikal Bridges?
Cam Thomas is going to average 28 points per game next season. He is going to shoot his hardest content. But
he's
no,
going to be Jordan Poole, in a better way. He's going to do what people thought Jordan Poole would do.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, if there's ever a time for you to do it, it's for 2025. It works out for him. I think it works out for the Knicks. Yeah, that's a lot for Mikal Bridges, but strike while the iron is hot. You feel good about that situation. I would say that I personally think the Knicks aren't done, and you could probably got to make a move for Julius to get him out of there so you can re-sign Hartenstein. But that's just me.
What about you, Leif?
Villanova's back. I mean, that's my thought. I mean, all they got to do is go get Eric Paschall, Phil Booth, and Omari Spellman, and they got the whole squad that was a buzzsaw through the 2018 tournament. Well, but like it makes sense. They're going all in. I think that Hartenstein's not going to be able to return because they don't have enough money now with OG, Bridges, Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo, all those guys. I don't think they have enough money unless they dump Julius Randle, which I don't think many teams are going to want Julius Randle for the price tag he's got. So I think they're in a little bit of a pickle financially, but they're going all in, and I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking, I think, a lot about the Brooklyn Nets for the next 12 months because next year's draft is that good. But this episode is about the 2024 draft. We're going to table that discussion, the rest of the way. Who knows if the Nets even make another trade? Cam Johnson, maybe even Cam Thomas. Maybe they trade him for one of those picks again, for a team that has a top 30 or 31 pick if they want to trade with the Raptors. Who knows? But let's predict some of the chaos. What are y'all's expectations for the draft tonight, I guess, when you're listening to this? What are y'all's expectations just in general of some themes, anything, what you expect to happen, like weird number one picks? Like, is there going to be somebody different? Let's just start with that. Who will be the number one pick?
Risa Shea.
Yeah, Risa Shea will be number one. I'll go. This is my theory, right? And I'm gonna stop right here. Risa Shea is gonna go number one. Sarr is gonna go number two. The Rockets are gonna trade the pick, and chaos will ensue after that.
That's what I think. I think it's going to be Rockets trade, and whoever trades into it takes Klingon, and then the Spurs take Castle. And then 5, if it's still the Pistons, and I think teams would want to trade up if Castle were to fall out of the top 4. But if it's still the Pistons, I think it'll be Reed Shepherd.
Yep.
and that's your top 5. I feel pretty good about that, assuming the Rockets trade, which I think they will. And then 6, James and I talked about this a couple of days ago, but 6 through 8 is where the draft gets crazy, because I was looking at betting lines just out of curiosity to see what the books are hearing. The Dalton Connect's over-under is 7.5, meaning, and it was favored to go below 7, meaning he'd go 1 through 7. Devin Carter was favored to go within the top 8. And then you still have Cody Williams, Ron Holland, Matas Buzelis, Nikola Topic. So all those younger guys that you typically associate with like high upside, they were projected in similar ranges. Cody Williams was 8.5, Topic was 9.5. I'm very curious what the Charlotte Hornets and Detroit Pistons do, and I think that'll dictate what happens the rest of the draft.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Reed fell to 5. I think that'd be a real steal for somebody. But at the same time, like 6'2" guards that aren't true point guards aren't the most desirable players. So I do think that is possible. I also agree, though. I think the Rockets trade the pick, and that is absolutely where the floodgates open. My theory with some of the trades in general is that some of these sellers are going to be okay to sell for pennies on the dollar. I think someone like Detroit may just not want to pick 5, and they will take anything to move back, even in 2 to 5 spots. I mean, I can see them being like, I think they could be the team that really swings early for Tijon Salon if it's not the Spurs. I think that'd be an interesting little outcome, but Detroit, who knows? Maybe not. What's up?
You said Detroit would swing for Tijon?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if, like, does they need that upside play? He's not necessarily the day one guy, but if you could get another pick in the first round to get an immediate contributor, if they're one of the teams that feels, hey, this draft doesn't have that much of a drop off from, say, 10 to 20 something, they might do it. I could see it. It's kind of in theory. Like, I think it's a bold take, but like at the same time, this draft is going to be all over the place. And I fully expect something like in 2016, the Bucks randomly took Thon Maker. 2013, obviously Anthony Bennett went number 1. Weird stuff happens in bad classes. I think someone's going to take a very strong swing for the fence and try and outsmart everybody.
Let me ask you a question, though. I'll ask you guys a question. We all agree that the Rockets make a trade.
Yeah.
Who are they going to trade? Who's going to be the trade partner? Theories.
Hopefully my Utah Jazz.
You think Utah?
I don't know if I think that. I think I said hopefully, but I mean, there's actually a compelling package that could be made. If you're the Jazz, you've got 10, 29, 32. That probably doesn't do it, those picks. But you also have a bunch of future picks. Does 10, 32, and a future first that belongs to the Cavaliers or Timberwolves for next year's draft get the job done? And the Rockets don't want necessarily Reed Shepherd. They don't necessarily want Donovan Clingan, who are the picks there. It doesn't make sense to take Stephon Castle. So maybe they're amenable to that. Maybe it's as simple as the Grizzlies want Donovan Clingan desperately, and they'll do anything to get him move up 9 to 3. And I don't know what else they'd put into that. But I think those type of teams that are drafting 9, I guess those were 9 and 10, but the teams within the backside of the top 10, I think, are the most likely trade partners.
Yeah, I have no idea who they would trade with. I don't think Phoenix is going to take the number 3 pick in this draft for like KD. I also just don't think that's going to happen. It would be crazy. And who knows?
What about Miami? In the sense that Miami, look, Jimmy Butler will be 35. Pat Riley will get you out there before it's too late. And, you know, he hasn't played 60 games, but like 1 or 2 times. I'm just, you know, I'm speculating here. Again, is there somebody you would trade up for? I mean, maybe, but like my thinking is, Ime Udoka just saw the Celtics win a championship with his boys. He wants to win right now. They won those games in April. Whether or not you think those games that they won in March and April were real or not, I mean, that's up for debate. But like, they want to win now. So who has a win now player available that you could trade up with, who would also at the same time be on the edge of, maybe we should kind of like start over. I don't know, but like I could think Miami, maybe in a sense, but it's like who you want KD, maybe you don't give up KD. I don't think the new owner is going to give KD right now. Who's next up? Jimmy Butler. I don't know. I don't know if they can get Paul George. I'm just making stuff up, but like they want a win now guy probably on the wing. So that's just what I think Ime Udoka's reasoning would be right now.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. I feel like they might do something as simple as just trading with the Spurs and doing 4 and 8 for 3. But like, what incentive, I guess, is there for the Spurs to do it? I'm having a hard time. But these trades come out of left field. Like in the past, just speaking from, I remember in 2013 when the Sixers nobody saw Drew Holiday getting traded that night. Like that was completely out of left field. Things do happen. So I think that something like that could come into play where someone big that we, on a team that was trending down fully commits to the rebuild, especially like we knew in 2014, it was hyped up to be the same way this class was. It's actually probably parallel. There was no number one, consensus number one. It was considered a bad class. Next year, everybody was looking towards it. Andrew Wiggins was hyped up to be Maple Jordan. That was his whole nickname. Obviously, he didn't live up to it, but you had Jabari Parker was also already hyped going into Duke. I think there might be stuff like that where we see a team go, you know what, we're just going to go into rebuild mode. Who knows who that other team is? I don't think it's Phoenix personally. And I don't know who else would fit that, like that is ready to do that. Utah's not going to do it. Because I just don't think anybody wants that number 3 pick this year. It's very tough to balance unless it's part of a bigger trade.
Do you think the Spurs would even want to do that trade? Like I get moving up like 4 and 8 and something for 1 maybe, but that's for 3. Like what are they doing?
Yeah,
they're going to take Castle anyway, unless you take Klingon at 3, and that I just think that's redundant. Like I've seen stuff about that, so that makes no sense to me. So I think it has to be either a swing from left field, like the Heat, or a team like the Jazz or Grizzlies who have a desirable player. Like the Jazz, I think would take Castle. And I think that the Grizzlies would sprint to the podium and take Klingon. And I think you need to be within decent range to make that trade. Like you can't send a low pick.
Yeah.
So I think that it's got to be another team. Like even though it just doesn't make sense for the Spurs.
Yeah, that's why, they were the only team with picks that I could think of right off the bat. Maybe Portland. Portland could throw Jeremy Grant. I don't know, but I don't like that's the thing. None of these guys that are in the mix, are they really worth the 3rd pick? Like, would Houston really give up the 3rd pick for Jeremy Grant? I have a hard time seeing that being yes. The whole trading for picks is tough. We're going to keep talking about this coming up, but first, let's talk about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, second segment. Let's just continue that conversation because over here on the side, you can see it says who should and will make trades. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 in predicting the chaos. I think Houston is the first domino. I think another team that could try and I don't know if they want 2 picks this year, whether it's packaging to move up plus get a pick next year. Maybe someone like Portland for a team that's trying to move up now. Also, even going back to Houston, I don't see that actually. I think Portland could be another team that makes a move. I think Sacramento might trade down. And I think the Lakers at this point are a surefire move out. Are there any other teams you guys see as making trades on? Really, let's just stick with the top 20 at the moment. Teams that could easily move out or up.
I think the Pistons might. I don't think they have a clear-cut answer as to what they should do. Like, especially if Shepherd goes 3. And even if Klingon goes 3, I don't think Reed Shepherd moves the needle for them. I think Jaden Ivey's better. I think Cade Cunningham's better. I just don't see that pick being something that enthralls Pistons front office. So I could see them moving down. I know the Jazz have have been talking to the Pistons, or rumors say at least that 5 to 10 and all that stuff. The other idea that I would have is, you mentioned the Kings. I think they're going to trade out of their pick, and I'd be curious to see if the Spurs are aggressive in trying to move up and package 4 and 8. I know we talked about them, but instead of moving to 3, what if the Hawks want to trade down? Like, the Hawks don't love Risasha maybe, and they've already talked about Klingon. Maybe they move and say, you know what, like, we got Capella. Let's find a way to get something of value for Capella or Okongwu, take Klingon, and get some assets back for a team that would take a different player anyway. Like the Celtics did it when the Sixers wanted Markelle Fultz. Like, they knew they wanted Tatum, but they knew Tatum wasn't going to be off the board. So they moved back to 3. Could the Hawks move back to 4 and still get the guy they want? I think it's possible. I don't know if the Spurs would necessarily do it, but I mean, if we're going to talk about trade possibilities, that one at least makes sense from a construction standpoint, and it's at the top of the draft.
Yeah, what do you think about that, James?
Trade. I'm more likely to think that somebody trades in to get something, not in the lottery, but like 15 to 25. Somebody that you don't expect, like somebody like Minnesota, right? Mike Conley is older, and I think that there are guys that they would like at the point guard position. But as far as like trading back and trading for, I have no clue. But I think it's going to be surprises. I think Marcus Smart is on the move somewhere, and maybe that pick becomes Devin Carter or Sacramento. I heard they love Devin Carter. So will he be available at 13? I don't know. Maybe they move up. But again, I think a lot of it depends on if they swing and trade for Zach LaVine as well. So, and also heard that maybe Sacramento really likes Jared McCain. So do they trade back to get him a little later? Do they not think he's going to be there at 13? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And Sacramento just has so many different choices, especially now that they brought Monk back. I think that took away like Jacoby Walter. He was the popular Monk replacement candidate. And now that he's back, I don't think he's really in the picture. I think there are some teams that I think are going to be dominoes for, like, they fit, right, with some of these guys. Like, if Jacoby Walter doesn't go to Sacramento, I actually have a hard time seeing him getting picked in the top 20. Maybe Orlando, because he kind of fits what they're looking for. But I think he's still a bit further away than their timeline. I think he's somebody that, like, in terms, we talked about team dominoes. What about player dominoes? Something like that, where it's, okay, if he's taken at 13, changes a little bit, but if he's not, then he skips through a bunch of bad fits, and then suddenly he slid. What do you guys think of someone like that? Basically, who will be the, like, I guess in other words, who's going to be the last green room invite, or attendee, I should say?
Filipowski.
That's bold.
Where's he sliding to?
I don't. But why is that bold though? Like who's going to take
that's
him?
Not bold to me.
Yeah. No, I think it's bold because I think it's Tyler Smith. I think because Tyler Smith did get a green room, right?
No,
no, I don't think so.
I'm so sorry. I got my information wrong. You're right. That is not bold. I think
Filipowski, real quick before we go over that, like, what team wants a player that in the top 20? I'm saying, like, that wants a player that shoots 32%, and that's like the upside. That's like the upside side for him. Like, he's not a good shooter. And now you're saying, well, a 6'10", negative wingspan, non-rim protector, not a good slider of the feet.
Yeah.
Like, why are you taking him in the top 20? So, like, I don't think he should have gotten a green room invite. Obviously, I may not know stuff being inside, which teams like him, whatnot. But that one just doesn't make sense to me. So, like, that's why I think it's the obvious pick. And watch him go like 14 tomorrow. Like, I'm absolutely.
That's
like,
one of those dominoes.
No, exactly. But like, this one would shock me if he's not among the last few. Like, maybe a team likes him more than someone else. But like that seems to be the obvious pick to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think depending on how real the Kel'el Ware intel is right now, that he's improved everything, I think he could be somebody. Generally, the guys I think that have slipped are the intel guys. Leonard Miller, I think there was some stuff last year. I wasn't a fan of how far he slid, but Bol comes to mind in 2019 where he slid into the 40s. Like, there's some weird stuff, and those guys had intel, the same red flags that we've seen Kel'el have throughout the year, but suddenly it seems like that stuff may have disappeared. Sometimes it comes back on draft night. And also, like, there are guys that slide, like Cam Whitmore last year. Nobody saw that coming. And I think that there will be things like that. I regret saying that Filipowski was bold, because you are right. He probably will be the last one. But where's the candidate? If things go wrong, I actually think the intel has been fixed, and I think he probably interviewed well, because I've also heard the Indiana people really liked him. So I think that's going to go a long way for him. But at the same time, I think there's guys that, like Isaiah Collier, could be among the last. I don't know how desirable his archetype is, as he's not really much of a shooter at the moment. Like, I know that he can kind of trend that way pretty easily, but he's not really a shooter, not that big, not like an athletic finisher in a traditional sense. But I don't know how much value he's going to have across the league. What do you guys think?
I like Collier, honestly. Like, I don't think he's great because he doesn't shoot well, but if you look at traits and what a player does well, he puts the ball on the floor and gets to the rim and puts pressure on a defense. Now, you add spacing. Yeah, maybe some teams can sag off, but you're not just going to, like, give an NBA player a wide open shot. He's going to put the ball on the floor, and then he can distribute. And I know he had turnover issues, but I think a lot of that was overdoing things and having a terrible shooting team. Like, USC was bad to begin with, but they shot horribly, so it made it more difficult. So I actually think Collier will go in the top 20. The odds do not, but, like, I think it was plus odds to be top 18.5, I think is what it was projected for him. But I mean, like, he's a good basketball player. And how often have we seen players like Cole Anthony or Tyrese Maxey, who are heralded recruits, who end up being ridiculed for the lack of shooting, and then they end up, like, outperforming where they're drafted? I think teams are going to learn from that type of thing.
That's fair.
And give context, just kind of, like, excuse the shooting due to context for Collier. I very well could be wrong. Maybe Nevada and Vegas knows better than me, but I could see him going top 15 even.
No, I think it's fair. James, what do you think of Collier?
I don't think the shooting splits ended up being as bad as you would think they were. I know he started off rough. My concern would be more so the turnovers. I don't project him to ever be a dribble off the dribble 3-point shooter in a sense, but, like, he's fast, he's strong, and when he gets downhill, he sees the floor better than he does, like, in the half court. And again, I think that if you're a team like Miami, is he a Heat guy? I don't know, but, like, I feel like they need to be trending towards a younger guy. And if they believe that he has upside, and then you can fix the jump shot and the turnover issues, like, I feel like 15 would be an option for him. But also, he could slide, because how many teams really need a point guard in this situation? Like, even him going to Miami would be like, okay, maybe it's a full reset. But, like, how many teams have an issue at the point guard outside of the top 10? But I think, as far as the first guy you mentioned, Filipowski, I had him 30. I haven't been high on him. That's not a slide to me. That would be like high. That's not like to hate on Filipowski, but I just haven't been high. But I think Furphy could slide, and you could look at a Furphy and ask me why Furphy is a better wing prospect than Pacome Dadier, especially if we're talking about sample size, because we're talking about a guy that had 11 games where he played out of his mind and he kind of cooled off. He said, we talked about a negative wingspan. I think he was 6'8" with a 6'9" wingspan. He does rebound the ball very well, but he can shoot and he's kind of limited. Whereas, like, if you dig into Pacome's film, he could be a top 20 pick off of upside alone, because he shoots the ball well. He's athletic. He can put the ball on the ground some. And again, depending on what, like, Toronto may do, you may say, I think he has more upside than a Johnny Furphy, who's going to project to be just a catch and shoot guy and in transition, obviously.
Yeah. And back to Filipowski before we go on to the next subject. I mean, with Flip, that was our first episode we ever did together. Was we bonded over the fact that we were pretty low on him. You were lower than I was, and then I eventually got there. So I think I don't know. We can talk about him in just a minute, because we're going to get to who we like and we don't like. But first, let's talk about FanDuel. With the draft coming up, I know we all love sports here, and we all don't want them to stop as the playoffs and now have winded down for both NHL and NBA. We get fewer games, but FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And it's draft night. You can bet on some of these odds. Leif, I know you had one. You were talking about pre-show. Hit us with one of those odds. I think you got a Baylor Shireman one.
Is that a shock? I got Baylor Shireman top 20. I'm telling you guys that I saw plus 1,400. I'm not necessarily a bettor, but I like those chances because I know teams were infatuated by him. Just takes one team. And then you look at like who's going to make it to the first round. If you guys are listening to this show, you probably love the NBA draft. So check it out and look at who's going to be in the first round. Is there a guy you really like? Or maybe you go safely and bet and say, well, Baylor Shireman's minus 300 to be in the first round, and you put some extra change on that and get some reward. So those are two I recommend. Obviously, that's on brand for me, but just check them out.
Good stuff, Leif. Yeah, this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, last segment. Again, my name is Richard Stayman. I'm joined by James Barlowe and Leif Thulin. Let's do some of these guys. We've done this in the past, like a thumbs up, thumbs down, indifferent. But let's change this up in I'll give a parameter of where I'll put Tankathon. I'll use them as a marker. I'm going to give controversial players, polarizing players, and give a draft range. And you guys give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. No thumbs in the middle this time. Alex Sarr at 2. Good value or I guess steal or still, how would you describe that? Alex Sarr at 2, yay or nay? Actually, Alex Sarr at 1. 1's a better one.
I don't think he will go 1. I think it's going to be Reese Sachet, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad if he went 1. I actually have Sarr ahead of Reese Sachet, but that's more to do with Reese Sachet than Sarr for me.
Yeah, so we'll do predictions and then what we think. So I'll go to a little bit harder one. So like Tyler Smith, first round. What do we think happens? What would you do?
I would take him in the top 20.
I know you like Tyler Smith. You guys like him. I would actually say no on the first round. Go ahead, James.
I said I think we're overthinking it. Hey, 6'11", he shoots threes. He dunks. He's athletic. He finishes with both hands. I think he should be a top 20 pick. I have heard that teams who don't have picks would take him in the top 20. So it's going to come down to who likes him.
Yeah.
So,
if you haven't listened to the episode with James's mock draft, go ahead and check that out. He made a really good case for Tyler Smith where he picked him. Kel'el Ware, top 25, yay or nay?
Yeah, I think he gets picked in the top 25. I think there's too much upside in a class that doesn't have that many surefire things. Might as well take a chance on a guy with a lot of talent.
Yep. Yeah. What about you, James?
Absolutely.
You guys have them both in, would you guys both, if you were GM, do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about Yves Missi, same range?
Yeah, I'm in. I like him.
I'm seeing James's face. It doesn't seem too positive.
We can't be on the fence. Yay.
Nah, pick a side.
Okay, so the Wizards pick at 26, which means he can't be in the top 25. But okay, I'm gonna say yay.
Okay, I like it. Keyshawn George, top 20.
I think he will. I've got some hesitation though.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be 21 years old early in the season.
Yeah, he's not getting past Toronto.
Yeah, I think I agree. That's probably the floor. What about Terrence Shannon, first round, yay or nay?
Probably not.
Okay.
No,
I think he's going to go early second. I don't think a team's going to give him that guaranteed contract that comes with the first round pick. Let's see. I'm going to do one more first round guy. Zach Edey, top 10.
Please no, because that would mean my Jazz would be considering him.
Hey, I mean, there's been stuff that's been linked about Walker Kessler. How real it is, who knows? But I'm sorry, Leif. What about you, James?
I will not be recording if that happens.
What about you, James?
Is that Portland rumor true? Is that Grizzlies rumor true?
I think that's smoke.
Grizzlies is possible.
Grizzlies or Portland?
Grizzlies, yeah, Grizzlies could do it. I think if they were, I feel like Edey has some interesting landing spots, man. Like I almost want him in Orlando because he could be the big that they need off the bench, and also like if there is really shooting upside, like it's a massive win. But let's do some second round guys. I'm not going to go too deep into the woods, but I'm just going off of the mocks. Ryan Dunn, first round or yay or nay? He's 32-1 Tankathon mock.
First round, easy.
Easy.
No.
Yeah.
The dude's got the best skill. He's got the best attribute. If you look at anyone in this class and they're like, what are they great at? He has the highest level of proficiency at any one thing in perimeter defense. There's no way that 30 teams are going to pass on him.
Why is it okay for Keyshawn George to be 21 and not Ryan Dunn to be 21?
I don't care if Keyshawn George is 21.
We got to play both sides of the ball, man. I can't draft a guy that airballs free throws, his side of the backboard. He can't feel his fingertips, man. I can't do it. And again, if you ask me who do I think he could be long term, I think he could be Andre Robertson long term. But like that defense is cool, but we have to run on the other end of the court. And I'm putting Trae Young on him if I'm the Hawks.
Yeah. I'm in the same way. You have to play him as a 6'7" dunker spot guy on offense. He doesn't even like initiating handoffs that much. Like he's not a DHO hub enough to really justify. Like the offense, I think is a massive negative.
That's how Virginia plays, though. They play a blocker mover.
Sure.
There's no reason he'd have the ball. Like a blocker mover, for those of you guys listening, is the point guard has it, and there's a pin down on each side, and he's Dunn's setting one of those pin downs. Like I think that's stylistic. I don't think he's uncoordinated in terms of dribbling. I just think he's a bad shooter. He may not feel his fingertips, but the dude can flat out defend. And I'd be
polarizing. I mean,
I'd be absolutely appalled if he's not taken in the first round.
Who knows? Virginia guys,
we can't do offense defense subs in the second quarter, man.
I'm personally trending out on him. I don't think he's the best Virginia prospect in this class, but I like Reese Beekman more. But we'll go to the next one. So let's do Pacome Dadier. He's listed at 33 on Tankathon. I think that's pretty off, so I'm going to up it a little bit. I think top 25, yay or nay. He could go top 20 to me, so I'm in all the way on that.
Yeah, I got one for you. Look, Rich, I asked Leif this. Why? What is the difference? Again, I'll put my name out there. I don't care. What's the big difference between Cody Williams and Pacome Dadier as far as skill? We talking about Cody Williams at 6'8" that grabbed 3 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Doesn't rebound, doesn't project to be a great playmaker, average handle. We don't know if he can shoot.
You're talking to somebody who doesn't like Cody Williams that much.
Again, Pacome, the sample size is small. But when you check the film, like he does a lot of things very, very well. That's all I'm going to say. Top 25.
I like Pacome. I think with him, he's got a much higher and much more realistic shooting upside. He can do more with both hands, I think, as a slasher. Like I think he has more true offensive upside. I think Cody's personally living a lot off of his brother's name. I think that actually leads us into the next one. Cody Williams, yay or nay, top 10?
For sure.
Okay. That was a bad one. Top 7. Does he get past Portland?
I don't think he gets past Portland, but I'm not in charge. How about that?
Yeah, I think your brother would have some big thoughts on that one.
I think he either goes 6 or 7.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind the Jazz. If he falls to 10, I bet you the Jazz swoop.
Yeah. I think it's a bit rich for me, but let's do 2 more. We'll wrap it up. Justin Edwards, he was considered at one point a top 10, top 5, even number 1 potential pick this year. First round, yay or nay? Leif gave a very resounding eye roll.
No, I was saying that the top 5 was
He
ludicrous.
was.
I mean, agree, but it was always ludicrous.
Well, yeah, but yeah. So first round, yay or nay? I say nay because he tested terribly and like he has no handle.
And he's older. If we're gonna, knock him for being an old freshman, I'm gonna say no. But I think that he is going to be a strong second round pick, and I think he has. If the shooting translates, he can get a second contract and be a good rotation guy.
Yep. Very last one. I have to throw this guy into the mix because for whatever reason, this guy is probably the most popular player in the draft, even though he's a second round prospect. Do the Lakers take Bronny James?
At 55 or
I don't think they're doing it in the first round pick. Yeah. Regardless, wherever they pick, will they take Bronny James? And will he get drafted? Or will they just take him in undrafted free agency?
Someone else is going to take him. That's my prediction.
I will chime in super fast. It'll be the last thing I say. I think the Clippers and the Celtics have a chance to do the funniest thing ever. The Celtics pick quite literally the pick before. The Clippers pick 10 picks before. I don't know. I think it'd be really funny if Bronny was drafted to LA, but not the Lakers. Personally, in a new building, I don't know, man. They got the chance to do the funniest thing ever, both of those two teams. So what do you think, James?
I think the Lakers are going to do whatever it takes to appease LeBron. They just threw a max contract out at him. He'll be 42. You might as well just throw his son out there with him. I mean, the Lakers they do some other stuff. So he'll be a Laker next year. He's only worked out for 2 teams, so yeah, 2 or 3 teams. Just wild in itself. But hey, man, I just podcast.
Luckily we don't have to make the decisions that go into it. Politics do matter a lot in the NBA. We're interested to see what happens. Remember, this is a 2-day draft for the first time ever, at least in the modern era, as far as I can remember, where the first round goes Wednesday night, the second round Thursday evening. We'll be here recapping round 1 and previewing round 2 tomorrow. But we really appreciate everybody who continues to make Locked On NBA Big Board first listen and everything and listening to us. We're excited for the draft. Let us know your thoughts of who you like, what you liked from what we said in terms of who we did and didn't like and where we predicted guys to go. And we'll see y'all tomorrow with more insights from round 1.